So we started this operation in 2006. It was primarily a cow-calf operation, and over the years we transitioned to strictly feedlot. Capacities around 600-700 head. And when I was in college at SDSU years ago, a nutrition professor said someday this is a type of feeding we're going to have with cattle, and that excited me a lot. And I was looking for the day that would happen, and lo and behold, at a meeting, Devin started talking about this amino acid style feeding, and I said, hey man, we need to talk. With our setup that we have in a hoop building, I have some smaller pens that I'm able to do a little bit of a side-by-side trial. And so I bought a group of cattle and we just ran them through the chute, and one went left, one went right. They went into the two separate pens. Having a scale in the chute and just knowing what we're feeding each one, we did one group with the conventional style feeding and one with the Profectus feeding. But once we got locked in, cattle just took off. By the time we got to about a month later, the cattle, you can just notice the difference between just the look of them. They seem to have just a smidge more energy. I'm starting to notice that the traditional versus this new style feeding a little bit better gain early on, and that just continued on while the cattle were here on site.
When we started doing the side-by-side thing, I noticed that there was a lot less feed on the Profectus side. We had the same amount of head in each pen, but I was feeding a whole lot less to the Profectus side than I was the conventional side. The conventional was eating a lot more. That Profectus feed was helping reduce the feed intake and making that a lot more efficient with the cattle while still looking good. I noticed that, I mean, especially running through the chute with him too, those calves, they look good. They're eating less feed, so I thought, oh, they might not be gaining as much, but they were actually gaining almost more than the conventional ones, eating less feed, and that was just really cool to see. With Profectus, we can take the ugliest looking calves and make them look halfway decent when they go through the sale barn when they're finished. I mean, you can get a short one, a tall one, a skinny one. That we feed them Profectus, and then they look like a normal calf. You wouldn't have known what they looked like before we started feeding them with Profectus. It really changed how they looked from day 1 to day 60 to day 90.
We're in South Dakota and it's wintertime, right? One day's 50, next day can be negative 50 with 2 feet of snow on your head and a northwest wind at 30 mile an hour. Coming off of the wonderful lake you guys have sitting here
you can really feel it,
to the northwest of us. So I was just going to ask you guys, you know, you have outdoor pens and indoor pens under the hoop barn. Through weather events and things like that, do you see the cattle just perform, or what's some of your thoughts through the weather event?
Yeah, we do adjust the rations up and down, but the cattle still perform, you know, and if we just kind of stay on that, I don't see a whole lot of drop off on those outside cattle versus the inside cattle. I mean, we do our best to make sure the snow is cleared away. We bed all the time, so they got comfortable with that. But, you know, when I think about how we used to feed and how we really had to bump up the rations with the traditional feed versus now with the way we're feeding, our adjustments aren't as big. We do need to bump up just because they need that maintenance energy. You know, it's one of those things that you don't think about it too much until now you ponder about it. It's like you think back to, you know, 10 years ago. Yeah, we really...
It might have been 2,000 or 3,000 pounds a load for a 6,000 pound load, but now it's only 500 pounds for a 6,000 pound load. It's not as big of an adjustment. I don't notice it as much when I'm loading.
Yeah.
That's what we've kind of noticed is through these weather events, the cattle kind of just keep planing through.
Yeah.
Don't seem to yo-yo so bad.
Correct.
But I think the rumen's healthy.
Well, yeah, and that's huge.
Yeah,
I think have that. That's half the battle right there.
Yeah, I think that diet's just built right for them animals. So then when that stress event does come, it allows them to kind of glide through that 3 or 4 day window just a lot smoother than if they are feeling a little rocky. You know, the diet's not quite right. All of a sudden they start charging the bunk and they're eating 4 or 5 pounds more per head per day than they were a couple days ago. That gets those calves in an acidotic swing. You know, it's really messing with their rumen and their health, and I really think these diets do a lot better.
And then you're on the backside, it takes how long to get back to where that even plane is for the cattle, and they're growing, and you lose a lot of days that have to get put on the end of it to finish them out all the way.
Yeah, your cattle, maybe they're finishing more on time than they have before, you know, and you're not getting those extra 30 days on the back end.
Absolutely. And what does that mean at the end of the day?
Right.
There's a lot of value in that
to
have that even diet, even through these extreme weather events.
Yep. All right. I just wanted to say, you know, thank you to Steve and Riley. You guys have been just great people to work with. You've been great customers. We really enjoy you. You're just down to earth, good people. You raise good cattle and they perform well, and you've been on our program here for a few years, and you know, we're just very grateful for working. So thanks for doing the interview. Thanks for taking some time. Thanks for letting us go through the feed yard, and you know, thanks for working with us.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. It's our pleasure.